there are times that there are sets that are overlooked. Some of the sets are iconic sets. Makes sense. Those cards draw huge premiums. Also makes sense. And then there are some sets and even stretches of years. It just seems like, yeah, it's overlooked. There are a series of years, specifically, in my opinion, 6 straight years of rookie cards, of incredible players, of all-time greats, with stats that are off the charts. Some of the best players we've ever seen. And for those 6 straight years, you could maybe even say 7, the cards are very, very affordable compared to how good the players were. It's been a while since I've talked about cards that I think are underappreciated, and that's really what undervalued means. Undervalued means underappreciated. Demand and supply are what drive the price. So if a card's price is low, but the supply is in line with other things around that time, then it's the demand that is low. The question is, why is the demand low for these set of years? Because it's not based on how good the players were. I can tell you that. These players are some of the best ever. I don't know what the reason is, but when I look at from about 1948 to 1970, almost all of the cards, rookie cards specifically, that I think are undervalued, they almost all, not all of them, but an overwhelming majority come from this very short stretch of time. And they're in consecutive years. So why would that be? Now, it could have something to do with, the baby boom really started in about 46 or so. And so this stretch of years, and when those players were really in their prime, might be when a lot of those baby boomers were no longer collecting. It could be when they started to phase out collecting. It could be the prime of when they were collecting, and so those cards are more beat up and less beat up. I don't know. It's hard to know, but for me, I'm always looking for a deal, especially when I have a limited budget. I want cards. I want rookie cards of some of the all-time greats. And I want them for affordable prices. And if other people haven't caught on to the fact that they're some of the all-time greats and their cards are affordable, that's more good news for me. Why this stretch of years is so unappreciated and is so affordable is beyond me. We're going to look at some comparisons of similar years of players of similar stature and compare the prices of their cards. And then we're going to look at a few other cards from this stretch of time that are very, very affordable for who those players are. Is it the size of the market? That doesn't seem like a consistent theme. Is it the quality of the player? That doesn't seem like a consistent theme either. It just seems that the one consistent thing is how affordable these rookie cards are in this stretch of time. Check these out. Let me know what you think.
All right, so we're going to compare 2 players here. So 521 career home runs, 2,211 career hits, 1,555 RBIs, a career average of 270 in 6 All-Star games versus 573 career home runs, 2,086 career hits, 1,584 career RBIs, 256 average, and 13 All-Star games. You look at these two players, pretty similar. Pretty similar players, pretty similar stats. But one of them, their rookie card, is way more expensive. So I always get the question about, well, is the pop report the reason? So down below, I put the pop reports for these two cards. First, can you identify which two players these are? And I highlighted the 4 grade because we're looking at the cost of 4s in this video. So on the left is Willie McCovey. On the right is Harmon Killebrew. Which of these two players was better? Well, when you look at the stats, it's pretty close, but I think you could make the argument either way. But look at what a Willie McCovey rookie in a 4 goes for. That is insanely cheap to me. And if we were to compare that to a Harmon Killebrew rookie in the same grade, again, the pop reports are similar. The grade is the same. The look of the card is similar. The player's stats are similar. But the Harmon Killebrew is a lot more expensive. Now, I actually think the Harmon Killebrew is a little undervalued as well. Let's keep looking. So in the next one, 399 career home runs. That's going to probably be a clue where a lot of you will figure out who this first player is. Just over 3,000 career hits, almost 1,600 RBIs, 18 All-Star games, and batted about 300. On the right, the player has 452 career home runs, 400 more hits, 250 more RBIs, a slightly lower career batting average, and the same number of All-Star games. So when we look at these two players, most people would say that the player on the right statistically has a better career behind them. Now, again, I listed the pop reports at the bottom, and I am highlighting the 4 grade because the cards that we're looking at here is going to be a 4. So the first thing is, do you think you know who each of these two players are? That's the first question. Well, the first player on the left is Al Kaline. The 399 career home runs might have given that away. And on the right, who do you think that player is? Well, it's Carl Yastrzemski. So Carl Yastrzemski and Al Kaline had very similar numbers. I think Yastrzemski's are a little bit better, but look at the Kaline rookie card value. Recently sold for $630 in a 4. But Yastrzemski is $185. Now, in fairness, in this one, there are quite a few more Yastrzemskis than Kaline, so that probably is part of it. But it's almost 4 times the price. 4 times the price. When I think Yastrzemski might have better stats. All right, how about some pitchers? So pitcher on the left had 251 career wins, a sub-3 career ERA, 3,117 career strikeouts, won a couple of Cy Youngs, and went to 9 All-Star games. Player on the right, you're probably going to be able to figure out pretty easily. 165 career wins, a 2.76 career ERA, just under 2,400 career strikeouts, 3 Cy Youngs, and 7 All-Star games. Now, again, to try to make things fair in comparing them, I put the pop report for each at the bottom. These are the PSA pop reports. Now, you'll see the player on the right, the pop report is quite a bit higher. There are a lot more of the player on the right that have been graded than the player on the left. And again, I highlight the 4s because, again, throughout this video, we're looking at 4 card values. So the player on the left is Bob Gibson. The player on the right, you probably guessed it by now, is Sandy Koufax. Again, 2 of the most dominant, if not the 2 most dominant players of their era. And when we look at the prices, however, and by the way, Bob Gibson is a high number. That's probably part of the reason for the lower pop report. So we look at Bob Gibson's value, and then we look at Sandy Koufax's value. I mean, that is significantly more than the Bob Gibson. Now, some people say that Sandy Koufax is the best pitcher ever. He's the best left-handed pitcher ever. I get all that. He was a Dodger. I get all of that. But that's a lot more expensive than a Bob Gibson, who might be my choice for Game 7 of a World Series if I could pick anyone. On the left, the player has 512 home runs, almost 2,600 career hits, 14 All-Star games. Player on the right, about 75 more home runs, about, 400 more hits, more RBIs, a higher average. So when we look at these two, statistically speaking, the player on the right is clearly ahead of the player on the left. When we pull up the pop reports and we look at those, similar. Player on the left is definitely lower. The player on the right definitely has a higher pop report, but it's not crazy higher. So who do you think these two players are? You might be able to guess the one on the... I don't know. These are a little bit harder than the last couple. So the player on the left, you'll be surprised that I'm picking on this card because I love it. The Ernie Banks rookie card. So player on the left is Ernie Banks. One of my favorite guys, one of my favorite players. Player on the right is Frank Robinson. Frank Robinson statistically is just a monster. But then we look at the prices. And again, these cards are 3-4 years apart. It's a 54 and a 57. Well, the 54 Banks recently sold in a 4 for about $1,400. The Frank Robinson in a 4, wow. That is so much cheaper. Again, the pop report's a little bit higher, but the statistics are just so much greater for Robinson over Banks. Now, I understand Banks' likability factor, Mr. Cub, Chicago market. I get all that, but man, that is a dramatic difference in price. So, other cards in this stretch of 1957 to 1962 is the stretch that I think is so underappreciated and undervalued. The Don Drysdale in a 4 for $84. Don Drysdale's rookie card. And you look at that one, it's pretty darn nice looking for $84. Juan Marichal, again in that stretch of 57 to 62, the stretch of the most undervalued rookie cards in my opinion. Juan Marichal in a 4, again, a nice looking card for $87. Now, Bob Gibson's probably the most dominant pitcher of the 60s. Juan Marichal is not far behind. Some people would say Marichal was more dominant. Bill Mazeroski, his rookie's in that 57 set. $77. Again, remember everyone, it's costing $20 to $30 to get a card graded. So we got $20 to $30 worth of plastic here. So when you look at a Don Drysdale for $84, if 25 of that is plastic, that's a cheap card. Orlando Cepeda, the only card from the 58 set on the list, but just over $100. You could go to a card show with about $350 and come home with those 4 cards. In the 62 set, the end of what I think is the era of unappreciation, a Gaylord Perry in a 4 for $69. Again, it's $25 of plastic. That means the card is $45. Seems impossible to me. Seems absolutely impossible to me. Lou Brock in the 62 set. Again, all of these cards are all between 57 and 62. Completely unappreciated. $153.50 for a Lou Brock. All of these guys are all Hall of Famers. All of these guys are some of the all-time greats. And all of these guys have rookie cards from 1957 to 1962. And all of them are severely underappreciated, in my opinion. When we get to 63, we've got Pete Rose. After that, we got Ryan. We got Seaver.
So what do you think about that? What one, if there's just one, of the prices of those rookie cards of some incredible players surprised you the most? Which one is more affordable than you expected? I have to believe you didn't think you could get some of those rookie cards in pretty decent condition. I mean, a 4 nowadays is a pretty solid card. And well under $100 in some cases. Did they surprise you? Which one surprised you the most? Why is that stretch of time? Why are the years from really starting in 56, but 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, why are those 6 years specifically so affordable? The pop reports are not way out of line with the other years. The statistics of the players are not way below those of surrounding years. Some of those players came from huge markets in the unappreciated years, and some of the players in the more expensive years come from markets that aren't necessarily enormous. I would agree that in most cases, the more expensive card is a more iconic player. And being iconic is sort of something that's hard to put a reasoning behind. They just kind of have gotten big and appreciated and beloved. But it's not like the guys who have cheap rookie cards aren't appreciated and loved, but their card prices sure seem like they are. Let me know down below, why is this stretch so affordable? Which one surprised you the most? And what the heck do you think is going on over this series of years? Right after the 54s and 55s, but right before some of the really expensive rookies like Pete Rose, Tom Seaver, Nolan Ryan, and others. Let me know what you think. As always, for me, that's the most interesting thing, is to hear your thoughts and hear what you think the reasoning is behind these very, very affordable rookie cards of some of the best players that ever lived.